This is the Fallen Angel Christopher Daniels, former TNA X Division champion and former TNA World Tag Team champion, and you are listening to the TNA Cross the Line podcast. Enjoy.
TNA Wrestling, Cross the Line.
And we're back with episode 76 of the TNA Cross the Line podcast. I am Bob Colling Jr. With me, as always, is Dallas Gridley. And this time around, we are not watching a weekly pay-per-view of NWA-TNA. And by God, thank God, we are not watching a bonus episode of a WWA show.
Oh, he said it on the show.
We are not. Instead, we are doing, just like we did last year, a year in review for 2003 NWA TNA. And if you think for one single second that I will remember every bit of information, by God, you are in quote.
Right. I was actually just going to say that as well. Like, forewarning, we aren't going to cover everything. It is literally impossible. We couldn't even do a half year at a time, I don't think. So much went down. But we're going to do our best to tell you guys some of our favorite moments, some of our least favorite, and some other fun stuff as we kind of discuss. Essentially, think about it like a PWI Awards. That's kind of what we're doing here on this year in review. And if you didn't listen to last year's, it was a lot of fun. Me and Bob we just sat here, we had a conversation, and that is the plan this year as well.
Why did you say, oh, I said it on the show, WWA?
Well, last week's bonus episode that we did, I said I really don't want to talk. I'm hoping we don't have to talk about WWA. So as soon as you said the name, I got triggered from watching The Reckoning. And I just don't want to, I don't want to hear WWA anymore.
So here's what I'm going to say. Okay.
Yeah, it was my idea. It's Dallas's idea. It's his fault.
I want everybody to go to their podcast catcher feed, wherever you're listening to this, and I want you to see the total runtime of this episode. It's probably going to be about an hour 45, 2 hours. Okay, have you done that yet? Cool. Now, I want you to go to the WWA show that we just did quote unquote last week. It's going to be about like 2 hours and like probably 10 minutes or something. Yeah. And you're going to hear on that show that I was like, hey, I'm fucking tired as shit. Right? Like the show side, blah blah blah, all these things. Yeah, great. Now I want you to do the math. The time of that show, WWA, and the time of this show, we've recorded it in the same day, so you can just feel the frustration.
Well, Bob's giving away all the secrets.
So
Bob's giving away the secrets.
Fuck my life.
Okay, I wasn't going to say that, but yeah, we literally just stopped recording the WWE episode about 10 minutes ago.
Yeah. We just watched it.
Yeah, okay, so that did happen. But there's a reason for that, and it's because this episode is dropping on New Year's Eve on December 31st. And, me and Bob wanted to enjoy some time for ourselves, but we wanted to make sure that we gave you guys an episode, of course. Even though you might have better things to do. Maybe not the morning of, though. So you might enjoy us while you're working. Some people do have to work Christmas Eve. Bob probably will be working, or New Year's Eve. Bob probably will be working. If I had to take a guess.
What day of the week is New Year's Eve on?
It's on a Friday in 2021.
I have Fridays off.
Okay, Bob is off on New Year's Eve this year.
Hey, baby.
So he has no excuse not to come to my party.
Oh, I gotta work the next day.
He has no excuse not to come to my party. So, well, yeah, Bob, it's been quite the year. It's been a very, very crazy, intense year of TNA wrestling. I mean, 2002 was wild. It was the wild, wild west. Things were happening every single week. People were coming in. People were leaving. Storylines were changing on the weekly. And that continued in 2003.
I was just gonna say we kind of thought maybe 2003 there'd be like consistency and logic. Well,
not a lot of it.
Not a lot. I mean, there was some progression, like some level of consistency, like some level of, hey, the storyline will actually develop and continue. But for the most part,
right,
it was like, let's throw it against the wall and literally let's see what sticks.
Yeah, and some things did and some things didn't. And, that all being said, though, I do feel like there was a period of time that they really were hitting their stride. I mean, I think we got nearly 10 thumbs up shows between you and I in a row between pay-per-views 55 and pay-per-view 63. That's crazy. I mean, it really felt like we were in an upswing. Whereas, like, in 2002, there was a lot of thumbs down shows, man. We gave them a lot of thumbs down action there. But that's because it was a new company. And, I mean, it's still new. I mean, we're barely around at this point still. But a lot has gone down.
You're absolutely right.
So I mean, I guess I don't know what else to say besides, I mean, we can start diving into some stuff here. I do have, not really observer notes, but I realized last year when we did this, our first show in January, I realized, oh shit, they do the newsletter, like Observer Awards. So I'm bringing that kind of into this episode this year. And kind of I can bring up the TNA stuff. Bob, if you think we should talk about that first before we get into what our thoughts were, we can just get it out of the way, or we can save it for kind of toward the end. What do you think about that?
I say that we do ours first, and then we say what they did.
I was kind of thinking that as well. So why don't we go through it? Let's go through our thoughts and stuff. Then we'll kind of. I mean, they're not going to be exact with the Observer, but we'll kind of go through theirs, and then we'll talk about some fun statistics. Like, I don't know, how many people made their debut in 2003 in TNA? I don't know. Stay tuned. We're going to talk about that.
Yeah, Dallas did the proper research and actually compiled the list. Full of names.
I tried my best, man, and I guarantee you I missed someone, but hold tight. We'll get there.
Maybe I'll even point it out if I like realize it.
Right. I hope I didn't forget anyone obvious, but I've surprised myself before.
Watch you forget to include Stang.
Raven. Right. So in our list here, I sent Bob the same list, so if they're not in order, it's Bob's fault. My first one I got is the most shocking moment that went down. I have a couple that came to mind when I was thinking this, and actually I feel like there's even more. So I'm curious what your thoughts are on this one, because I definitely think forgetting some. But let me tell you some of my thoughts, and you can react and you can give me what you think. We can kind of go like that. So for now, this is kind of funny, and you're gonna laugh, but one of the first ones that came to my mind, probably because it was 2 weeks ago on the last pay-per-view, was the Gathering finally turning on Raven.
I don't know if I would say that's a shot for me. A shot, well, because you could tell that was going to happen.
Well, yeah. So that's the thing. Is like, we kind of knew it was going to happen, and we're reading the dirt sheets. We knew it was going to happen, but I think it was still a fairly big moment. They've been with him for almost the entire. I mean, a really good chunk of 2003. So it was at least a big moment that finally happened, I think. But I agree. I was like. It was like one of the first things that came to my mind because we just saw it happen. It was just like that Kimberly Page turn in 2000. That you just didn't see it coming.
Literally text Bob, oh my God, dude, Kimberly Page fucking turned on DDP. What the hell?
There will never be a bigger pop in my own room as I'm watching this alone, sitting in a chair in like the dark. Like, oh my God, Kimberly Page. So that was the first.
Mind you, at like 8:30 at night.
It was some random ass time, right? My next one is kind of like a tour, right? So I have the debut of Vampiro
I
But-
knew you were gonna say that.
But in turn with that is because Raven loses his hair on September 17th, or pay-per-view number 62. I think that's a pretty big moment, that Raven getting shaved. I don't think the story leading up to it was like super great, because they were like, we're just gonna take your image, we're taking your hair. And it was like, okay. But do I think Raven's known for his hair? Not really. But it was a big part of his look. And like, I really liked his look for a while. And then they fucking shave him. And then, of course, they scalp him. I mean, it was pretty brutal. So I have that on my list as well. And then my final one that I wrote down, and I'm sure you'll trigger some stuff in my mind as well, was actually Michael Shane winning the first Ultimate X.
Okay.
So I really didn't expect him to win that. I think I have the first Ultimate X on August 20th on pay-per-view number 59. So those were that immediately came into my head. If I dug a little bit deeper, I'm sure I could have found a couple other pieces that were like more impactful.
Right.
But I mean, even another one I could throw in here even is I'm gonna say it counts, is Jeff Jarrett going to Japan to attack Hogan. They showed the footage on Impact. I think you can kind of you're on TNA.
That was one that I was gonna mention.
I mean, how can we ignore that? How can we go through this episode without mentioning that?
You're missing one major shocking moment, and I'm kind of upset about it.
I'm a little worried because I knew I was going to be missing something decent, and
Yeah. It's when Lollipop exposed her boobs.
Whoa, dude, whoa!
No?
I forgot that was in 2003. I mean, that's literally what we were just saying. I mean, so much happened. I forgot that Lollipop's they were showing on a pay-per-view.
Yep. Sure
Yeah,
were.
yeah. I mean,
you also
okay.
have to include Shane Douglas barfing, because
Yeah.
dehydration. He barfed in the ring.
He sure did. He sure did. Oh, damn, dude.
How about TNA signing, or TNA losing out on Zach Allen after a People magazine fucking article?
Really, I mean, that is pretty fucking shocking. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. They did do a lot of, I would say like shocking things. So there's a lot of ground to cover. But damn, dude, Lollipop being exposed.
I'm trying to think of like storyline.
Well,
aside from the stuff that you mentioned, which were all, I think, really valid ones. I think a shocking one for me, in all seriousness, is Raven not winning the NWA World Title.
Oh,
on April 30th.
Hold that thought. That fits in a different category for me.
Oh, what? Let me see
Our next category is most disappointing moment.
Oh, okay, yeah, that would probably that goes, I think, for me for both of those, because that is a majorly disappointing moment.
No, I mean, I totally agree. I mean, how can you not? I mean, it was kind of ridiculous. And another like pretty big one is the debut of one of my other favorite wrestlers, who was under a mask, Mr. Wrestling. What was the number? Is it 4? Mr. Wrestling 4. Nikita Koloff.
Oh, shut up! You didn't know who he was.
Yes, I did.
I think it's Mr. Wrestling 3.
No, that was the other one. That was Vince Russo.
Oh, that was 3.
That was last year. Yeah.
Oh shit. Okay.
See, it's all.
That's ridiculous, because Steve Corino was always Mr. Wrestling 3. I thought. And that was later than 2000. Whatever.
It's all a mess. But I think that's that's some really great stuff as far as like shocking stuff. And like I said, and as far as all these questions go, I want to hear what our listeners think as well. So react to it. Let us know what you guys think about some of your most shocking moments. Even if you didn't watch, if you've been listening the whole time, you've heard it all. I think me and Bob.
Would you say what about like all the constant hangings?
I mean, those are certainly visually shocking.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a couple of them that were like, he probably should let him go a little bit.
Yeah.
Like,
I
there's
think
some brutal ones.
I think the one where they had him over like the balcony was a bit.
Yes, the balcony ones were pretty fucking brutal. And see, this is where it's like, maybe next year we need like a holy shit moment thing too, because like New Jack being thrown off the balcony,
Oh yeah.
Tons of stuff. I think the hangings, that's a really great point too, though.
What about there's two of them. The first one, and we're still on shocking moment. How about when Vince Russo's kids revealed that he's a bad father, and he's like, "I let you watch Howard Stern at 11 o'clock at night, bro."
Yeah, I was actually, that whole segment, I was trying to figure out where that fit for me, because that one stands out. Like that whole
promo of the year, baby.
I was thinking about it for that, but I don't know.
What about when he comes out dressed up as Jeff Jarrett?
My God. Oh my God.
That was amazing.
Another thing that it was like one of the best things I think Vince Russo's done is coming out dressed as Double J Jeff Jarrett, and it was funny as fuck.
That was great.
It was awesome.
Totally not expecting it.
No. So kind of to tie in, we already mentioned it, but what about your most disappointing moment? We mentioned Raven not winning the world title on April 30th, pay-per-view number 43 against Jarrett, which was probably the stupidest decision I can think of.
Yeah. I think the push of Glenn Gilberti as a main eventer is a series of disappointing moments.
That's an interesting one.
Because here's the thing. To an extent, I think the progression was going maybe fairly well. I mean, like he beat AJ Styles in that street fight with the chair.
Yep.
Which was good. Like that was okay, that's clever. That's an effective way. But I feel like it was just really rushed. It seemed like in a 2 or 3 week span, it went from Glenn Gilberti doing jive talking and like teaming up with Mike Sanders to, we're gonna overtake the show, and I'm gonna smoke a cigar and be like, I'm king of the world. I'm gonna control.
Yes, the king of the world stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that whole thing was just really rushed out. Like if this was maybe a different format, and I've said it numerous times. I mean, if it was a TV show, you're probably able to stretch things out, because like if you reduce that Gilberti storyline over the course of 3 or 4 or 5, 6 months instead of 2 or 3 or 4 weeks, it might have a greater impact. But when you're having to maybe rush things in a sense of urgency to give Jarrett more, heel challengers at the time, I think that was an overall disappointing storyline arc.
Yeah, I agree.
How it resulted in being.
Well, and I think it's safe to say that at one point it was like, they're kind of booking Gilberti pretty good, which is very odd to like kind of enjoy the character he was trying to portray and stuff. But like you said, it rushed so fast, and it came and gone before you really got to, I think, enjoy it. I'd argue it's probably some of the best stuff he's done, and it was there and gone. And then he was trying to like be the leader of Sex still, and Sex fizzled away.
I think the current role that he's in as like a lower mid card,
like manager type.
I think
it's perfect. Him being when he started managing Swinger and Diamond, I was all for it. I was like, this is how you use Glenn Gilberti right now.
I think if Gilberti was strictly a manager, he'd be really good. I think he would get the right level of heat, not only for himself, but also for the people that he's managing.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That it would be beneficial for everybody.
Yep. I completely agree. Another disappointing moment that I had written down, besides the Raven situation, is the Bound for Glory show being canceled, and that was officially canceled or rescheduled on October 22nd, pay-per-view 67 is when they had Jimmy Hart come out and basically be like, yeah, we're rescheduling the show. Hogan's got to get surgery. I mean, we went from Jarrett just flew to Japan to bring TNA to him and like attack Hogan in Japan to, hey, we got a pay-per-view November 30th. Get ready. Big 3-hour event. And then it was like, it's actually not happened. It happened so fast.
I was just gonna say, dude. Yeah.
It was like, oh, this is awesome. Bound for Glory, and like obviously with hindsight, TNA fans love Bound for Glory, right? It's like their marquee event. So it's like, wow, this is cool. It's like the start of it, and then it just doesn't happen. So huge disappointment. The whole Hogan situation in general. Instead of Hogan, we got Jimmy Hart for like 5 weeks.
Yeah.
And like that kind of sucked.
That's probably the number one. I think
It's got to be one of the biggest, right?
I think so, because I mean, if you're watching it live in 2003, and I know for myself, just putting myself in that, I would have been like 14 at the time. So if I'm watching it and I'm like, oh shit, yeah, and mind you, I was a TNA supporter really from day one for a while. I would have been so pumped up and like, yeah, dude, I'm down. And then for it to be like literally 3 weeks later, roughly, where it's like, he's not coming in. Like,
Yeah.
we didn't make it to the end of the month before it's like he's not actually coming in at all.
Right.
That's a major disappointment. I think for another disappointing moment, I guess, or moments, I'm gonna say the last like 3 months of AJ Styles in 2003.
I mean, really though.
Ever
Holy
since
crap,
he
man.
lost the title to Jeff Jarrett back on like whatever October whatever it was, 29th or 22nd or whatever.
Yeah. I mean,
He has looked, just from a character perspective, his in-ring stuff is good whenever he actually gets offense and whatever. But character presentation, he has looked like an absolute jabroni. He'll sit there and say, like, I'm going to knock you out, Jeff Jarrett. You're not going to want me in the ring. And then he gets in the ring, and it's like a 90-10 Jarrett.
mm-hmm.
And then, even if he tries to attack Jarrett, he still gets laid out. So
Right.
you can't even do that.
Yeah,
So
it's
I think they've de-elevated or de-escalated AJ Styles as like a prominent upper card guy, it seems like, which is pretty disappointing.
yeah, because I feel like he wasn't doing bad as like the champion. He had Russo in his corner. I thought it was going pretty good.
I kind of enjoyed the heel run, like
Right.
when he had the matches with D'Lo and he like defended against Raven or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, and with Russo as his partner, I thought that duo was entertaining. But then when Russo leaves and like Styles de facto goes back babyface and just looks like an absolute scrub against Jarrett for the most part, that's pretty disappointing. And even in rematches, he hasn't had strong showings, but I think that's just because of the poor booking and presentation for him.
Yeah,
So that's pretty disappointing.
I agree. Yeah, I mean that's kind of all the stuff that I had coming, to the top of my head. But there was many shows where, we watched it and we were like, "Wow, wish they didn't do that." So there was definitely a lot of twists and turns that disappointed us along the way this year. But I'm glad none of them stick out as badly as Raven not winning the title and Bound for Glory being canceled for me, because I feel like this could have been a laundry list, I feel like.
Oh, sure.
But yeah. So that's all you had for that one?
I think so.
Hey, if something comes to your mind, let us know. What are you thinking about for promo of the year? I think this one was really tough. So tough that I didn't have an answer.
I don't know about a specific one. I don't know if that's what you mean by promo of the year, or if it's by just a wrestler.
I'm down to kind of think about this how we want. Last year, I think we kind of narrowed it down. I could easily think of some like specific people where I was like, I really like them on the microphone this year.
Yeah, so I'm gonna try to encompass a few of these. So I think Raven, when he doesn't get lost in his words, is good.
Right.
There's been a couple of times where he's like, I forget what I'm talking about, and then
Right.
Ramos. But then there's a lot of times where he totally gets what he's talking about.
Yep.
Do I like the catchphrase? You hear me knocking, I'm gonna walk, whatever it is. No, I hate that. That pisses me off.
No. Or when Raven first came in, some of his
was good.
some of the promos, like standing in the nest area, like in the crowd, some of those were like really, really good. And it was like, damn, I'm really glad Raven's here. And then he started doing the weird catchphrase and like getting lost, and then like talking about killing people a lot and like taking their guts out. Some of those are a lot, but
I think TNA, if you really think about it, they have a lot of strong talkers. You have Raven, you have Father James Mitchell, Shane Douglas can do some good ones. I want to say there was like a promo by Chris Harris.
I was thinking that too.
Where we were like, holy shit, that's a good, like, intense promo.
Right.
So, and I want to say it was around the cage match with Triple X that he cut that.
Oh, you might be right about that. You might be
around
right about
that. It seems like it was around the time, but there was definitely a Chris Harris promo where we were like, what the hell? And of course, James Storm was just like, sorry about your damn luck. And like they walk off or whatever. But Chris Harris actually carried it, which was rather surprising. See, I think Sonny Siaki, when he was like leading Sex, was a good promo.
The ace in the hole.
Ace in the hole. Sonny Siaki referring to himself.
No, he did do some. He's good to talk, and they actually haven't really let him talk much recently.
They haven't really seemingly used him. That's kind of a disappointing thing too. It's like, what the hell? You haven't really used them.
Well, you bring in ECMO, and then it's kind of like now they're like a lower tier tag team now, where like Siaki was like heavily featured earlier in the year.
Yeah.
And they're not a bad tag team either necessarily, but what a weird thing to have happen to a good talker, solid wrestler, and someone who really, I think you could potentially kind of help build your company on. He's like a younger guy who could end up being a big star if you did it right.
A TNA original, really.
Yeah, for real. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I think that sometimes, you know, if the in-ring isn't good with TNA, at least you can sometimes bank on a couple of good promos, maybe.
No, I agree. Yeah, like I said, the promo thing really got me, and I feel like there was even some like there was like one like a Vince Russo one too, where like with him and Jarrett and stuff. There was a couple pretty good ones. I'll tell you what, and we've said it before. You know, neither of us are the biggest Vince Russo fans. It is what it is. But some of his stuff he's done in TNA, as a performer, has been pretty decent. He gets heat. I mean, it ain't hard. But there's been a couple times where it's like, damn, like, am I becoming a fan of Vince Russo?
Well, I think I don't necessarily enjoy Russo as a booker or writer. I guess he's more of a writer than he is a booker.
Right.
But I do tend to enjoy him as a on-air personality.
I do. I think I do too.
So, and do I feel ashamed for saying that? Maybe. But even in WCW, it's like he knew how to book himself strong. If only he could book other, like if you put a wrestler, if you were to put a wrestler in all the angles that Russo put himself in, that wrestler would be like huge. But instead, he was like, "Nah, bro, I'll do it.
I'll do it myself, bro."
Yeah, I'll elevate myself where there's no like legitimate conclusion in the ring, and I'll just take all the heat. It doesn't make a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm. Now, these next couple categories that we have, I think it gets a little tougher. So next up, we have the Rookie of the Year, and we had a lot of rookies.
Do you have a list of rookies?
I picked two.
Okay.
That I think have the potential to win this category, but we do have, in general, a lot of rookies. My first pick is Michael Shane. And I say that because he kind of came out of nowhere, and I think he's really solidified himself on the roster, and I think he's done fairly well for essentially coming out of nothing. And you might say the same, one of the same names as my second that I have. So I'll let you say one of yours here next.
Who's your second?
Okay, talk me into it. My second's Chris Sabin.
I knew you were gonna say Sabin. I wasn't gonna say Sabin.
And I think very similar reasons, although I think Sabin's better than Michael Shane.
I do. I think Sabin's better than Michael Shane.
Significantly better even. But I think that he's really proven himself. I think he was in immediate, like you put him out there at first, the fans loved him. I mean, he had a great first showing, and he stuck around. He joined Sex for that little bit. He was the X Division champion, won the Super X Cup. I mean, he's killing it. He's doing really good work. There's not usually a Chris Sabin match where I'm disappointed. At least I can't think of one that I was like, wow, that one sucked.
I think Sabin's a really good one. I don't know. See, Michael Shane, I think his X Division title run, it's not bad.
It's a lackluster though.
But it's lackluster. It's not the style that you would want.
Right. I think, like I said, for me, with putting Michael Shane here, it's almost like seeing him like come in and being like, "Oh, I'm Shawn Michaels' cousin." To like he's worked his way. I mean, literally because he's the champion, but to the top of the X Division, and I think he's held his own. So that's why I put him up there. But yeah, that's where I'm at.
I think I will agree with you with Sabin, and then the guy that I was thinking of is Abyss.
I was looking at one of my lists over here, and I looked at his name, and I was like, it's a pretty good one too.
And I say Abyss because I think out of all, well, and I don't necessarily know all of the, I don't know all the rookies per se that have made their debuts. But I feel like Abyss has the most potential to be a star because he's got a different look.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, as the years go by, the guy does just lunatic things to himself. And clearly he's inspired by guys like, Cactus Jack, Mankind, whatever, that style of wrestling. And I think that resonates much more with fans than necessarily Sabin style. I think there's a lot more people that do Sabin style, at least in 2003, compared to what this is doing.
Right.
But no, I think the top two for me would probably be Abyss and Sabin.
Yeah, I think Abyss is a really good one to add under there as well. I totally agree with that. I guess kind of moving on. And once we talk about our debuts, don't worry, we'll talk about other people who are, I guess, technically rookies and stuff. So if you're like, wait,
rookies in the sense of TNA,
right? And there's, I mean, you could say like even like just an example. He only did a couple appearances, but Eric Young, that's like a true like rookie guy in TNA at this time, stuff like that. But we'll talk more after. Inspirational wrestler of the year. This one was really freaking hard for me. I had to really, and I feel like I'm only picking off a little bit on this one this year. So I'll just get it out of the way. I'll just tell you. I picked Sanjay Dutt, and I say that because I feel like he is like a true underdog, and the fans immediately picked up on it and like loved him, and like really, really are pulling for him. Kind of corny shit. But that's right where my head went to when I was thinking about this. And the more I thought about it, I was like, I really don't know who else I'd put in this spot from this year.
That's a good one.
Maybe Vince Russo for going home and being a dad, watching Howard Stern with his kids.
He saw the error of his ways and he went home. I don't know. This is actually a pretty tough one. Inspirational. And I just had one in my head, and then I lost it.
Yeah, like I said, man, I really struggled with this.
Oh, how about David Young? Because by God, he's probably the most boring wrestler in TNA history, and he still collects a paycheck and will continue to do so for the better part of 3.5 years.
In that sense,
That's
I'm
pretty
truly
inspiring.
inspired. I'm pretty fucking inspired.
Yeah.
Actually,
It's like,
they
hey, if you know what, ladies and gentlemen listening, if you feel like you suck and you're lackluster at maybe something you're passionate about, just remember that David Young is perhaps the most bland and boring wrestler in TNA history. And he still got booked.
right. There's actually just on a recent episode of Impact Wrestling, they did the Wrestle House 2, and there was a David Young reference.
No way.
Dude, the short version is Hernandez is in it, and they like kind of brainwashed him, and I forgot who hit who, and he's like, "Oh, he reminds me of David Young," and I was like, "What?"
Oh my God.
There's also a Goldilocks reference too, so I don't know if they're just listening to our show or what, or they're getting inspired by our shit. But there's some old TNA stuff getting brought up there in Impact Wrestling.
Would you consider Mike Tanay inspirational?
I guess in what way are you thinking? I
I'm
want to
thinking
I want to say yes, but I guess I can't think of why I want to say yes.
because he's always like defending the NWA. He doesn't back down from Jared ever.
He never backs down, never.
If anything, he's an aggressor.
Yeah, he really is.
Yeah, so that's pretty inspiring that Mike Tanay, who's like, hey, I'm just an announcer guy and you could easily just kick my ass. But by God, if you get in my face, I ain't backing down.
Right.
That's kind of inspiring.
I don't disagree with that, actually. I don't.
So,
Well, yeah, I'm glad we figured out some names. David Young's might be my favorite on that list now, but, you know. Moving on. Our next category is the most improved. I feel like
oh, I know mine.
I don't know if mine's like right. I don't know if there is a right or a wrong answer, but what do you got for this one?
Say my name. Prime time, baby. Elix Skipper.
That's good. That's good.
I've really enjoyed it, Elix Skipper.
Yeah, I think that's probably better than my answer and probably
He's
more
came
realistic.
a long way since attacking Monty Brown in a park with a pail of yellow.
That's
paint.
true. And he did just make his return, and he's back
Yep.
trying to get Triple X back together. Fingers crossed. Let's hope it works, even without Loki if we have to.
So I think Elix Skipper is going to win that one for me.
But yeah, I think that's pretty good. I picked AJ Styles, and I say that because he got elevated to the heavyweight division essentially. And I mean, how could AJ Styles is he's freaking good. Okay, there's no doubt about it. But that's why I thought that. Okay, they elevated him. He did good with his title run. Of course, as you mentioned earlier in the show, then he's kind of been shit on.
Yeah, shit on real quick. Yeah.
But I like Skipper. That's probably a better answer and more realistic of a real answer.
I mean, I think you're taking most improved in terms, obviously, of like status on the card, and I'm taking most improved as I think Skipper's found his groove in the ring.
Right. BG James. No, I'm just joking.
That's
Yeah. Well, what's not brutal, Bob, is we had a lot of comebacks, a lot of people doing some cool stuff. Who won the comeback of the year for you? I took this a different kind of way too. I know I feel like I'm kind of cheating this year, but this is just what came to my mind.
Okay. Comeback. I'm gonna say for comeback of the year, I think also has to play a part of like I've enjoyed their work.
Right.
Maybe they're not good, but I've enjoyed it.
Oh boy. He's saying Glenn.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm going to say the franchise Shane Douglas.
Ooh, that's really
because good. I think when he came back and that initial feud with Raven, that lasted like 4 months, 3 or 4 months. That was some top quality shit. Now the stuff he's doing with Michael Shane here to close out the year, maybe not that most intriguing thing.
Right.
But
Shane Douglas is a good one.
I'm taking comeback of the year from like we haven't necessarily seen him in a while, like in the time frame or like.
No, I think that makes sense. So the way I kind of looked at this was a comeback in their career,
like a resurgence,
and I feel like arguably someone who did that the best was Raven.
That's actually a really good one.
Because as we mentioned, when he made his debut, he was wrestling on Heat. He wasn't doing shit. He came
okay. I think I agree with you there. I think I'd go like Raven as the top one, and then Shane Douglas.
Shane Douglas is good though, but Raven for me, it's just like I don't know. I think his TNA stuff is some of his best work, and him coming in and essentially going right as a main event player and doing really good at it. Instead of wrestling on Heat, I mean, come on.
No, yeah, I think his run here has definitely solidified himself as like a viable main event guy compared to being, hey, I'm gonna wrestle Johnny Stamboli for 4 minutes on Sunday Night Heat.
Right.
So yeah, he definitely came back to like the ECW and even WCW level.
Yeah, I agree.
He should be on the card. So
right.
I definitely agree with that.
Because originally I was like, who left and like made a return, but we didn't really have any like good ones of those. Like,
no.
So that's where this one was. I was tough. So I thought Raven would fit that category fairly well.
No, he absolutely does.
Next up, we have the Manager of the Year. Well, we don't got a lot of them. There ain't a lot to pick from.
No, and I mean, I'm gonna say Father James Mitchell.
I don't know how you can say he's not the one.
I don't know who could possibly be in this category other than him for like the next 5 years.
I mean, realistically, he is like the manager.
Yeah.
I mean, there has been some others. We have Shane Douglas, Vince Russo was AJ Styles' manager. I mean, those ones stick out the most. But I had Shane Douglas down as well. But Father James Mitchell, I think number one. I don't think he can be touched right now, and I think soon. I think he's going to be very untouchable.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So we'll see what happens there. That was an easy one. I like that category.
Yeah, that was you didn't have to think hard for that one.
Right, exactly. A Feud of the Year is up next. This, for me, also pretty fucking easy. I got 2, but I think this was pretty easy.
I have 2 as well. Maybe even 3.
Well, I'll go first this round. I think number 1 is Jeff Jarrett versus Raven.
Sure.
I don't think I need to say more about that. And secondly, I had America's Most Wanted against Triple X.
Yeah.
I mean, those are pretty big, and they will spill into some other remaining categories as well that we will get to. So yeah, for me, those 2, very good, really stuck out.
Yeah, and I'm also going to include Raven and Shane Douglas, as I just mentioned.
I mean, yeah, you could even count that as Raven versus the New Church. I mean, that whole thing.
Yeah, I guess you could encompass that as all in one.
Yeah, I would probably add that in mine as well, because that's some really good stuff.
I think Raven against AJ when he first came in. I mean, the promos there were AJ would be like, "Got needles in your arms, snorting coke."
Right, like,
dude. What? That's a shocking moment. That's a shocking moment too. Like a promo where it's like, "Hey,
and promos,
track marks in your arm." Like, okay, AJ, what the fuck are you talking about?
Little landscaping AJ Styles is saying, "Oh, what? You got track marks? You got a needle in your arm?"
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. Do you know who you're talking to? That's fucking Raven, dude.
Yeah. You know what? Another most shocking moment was like Vader.
I mean, really though.
Like, what the fuck? Yeah. What other like feuds could there have been?
I mean, America's Most Wanted versus I don't know if they technically
Diamond and Swinger.
Yeah, New York Connection. I don't know if they actually went by that or not, but Yeah.
That's definitely.
I mean, that's like a really, really good tag team feud.
Yeah, absolutely.
I-
What else is there?
I feel like
AJ and D'Lo.
AJ and D'Lo's pretty good.
Yeah.
I gotta say, and they hit some pretty good matches in that too. I think it could easily be up there in the feud of the year as well,
Yeah.
which is good. I would say nothing with the red shirts. Just cancel them right out.
With the Harris brothers.
Nothing with the Harris brothers. I mean, some of the sex stuff was good, but that died out really quick, so I wouldn't even consider that in this category.
Which is crazy to think that like Sports Entertainment Extreme. I don't think I would incorporate that in Feud of the Year or anything, or even like a storyline of the year.
Because the way it fizzled so fast.
Fucking quick.
So fast. I feel like I feel like there was something with that, like Saban. Was it like Saban and like Lynn and stuff like that? Like all that X Division stuff. There was some pretty good action going on, but I can't really see if it's not sticking out in my head enough. Then I don't feel like it's even like worthy of saying it's a feud of the year. But
right. Well, wasn't it more like Lynn and Skipper?
well, yeah, I mean that happened too, and that was pretty.
Was such a minor. I feel like that was such a minor.
Yeah, that was pretty minor though. But you know, hey, those are some really good picks.
What about Dusty and Jared? And then you got Tanay and Jared.
Well, I feel like Tanay and Jared is like a default every year, and like,
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys listened to our last regular episode 75, but at the very end of the show, there was a fucking blow off for this feud. Jarrett grabbed Mike Tanay by the jacket and was like pushing him, and Tanay was fighting back. Oh my god, something I never thought I'd see. I really think January 7th, when we return next week for you, there might be a match. I don't know. I haven't seen the show, so we're gonna find out.
I'm telling you, if Mike Tanay should wrestle a tag, like a tag match against Jared. If Mean Gene Okerlund and Mark Madden can do a tag team match on Thunder, Mike Tanay can put some tights on and wrestle on the weekly pay-per-view.
I think so as well.
I'd pay to see it.
I agree. Next up, we have the most popular wrestler of the year.
I think that's easy.
I think it's easy too.
It's Raven, right?
Raven. I was gonna say let's count down and just say it because it's got to be Raven.
It's got to be Raven. Even when he was a heel, I think he was the most popular wrestler.
He was easily. Yeah. Okay, next up, the most hated. I got. Well, for us, yeah, I have 3 names that I think are like perfect in this category, and mostly I'd say those you're just fucking Don Harris. Yo, fuck Don Harris.
Fuck Don Harris.
So that's a whole different thing. I'll just go down the list. Just make it easy, and we can discuss. I got Vince Russo, mega heel, right? Jeff Jarrett later half of the year.
I would say the whole year.
I mean, realistically, the whole year. But he was more...
even when he was a babyface, I don't think the crowd really bought into it.
No, that's true. That's true. And then finally, how could I not put this man on the most hated list? And that is our director of authority, Eric Watts.
Eric Watts.
Fuck Eric Watts.
Oh my god. Jack. Jared.
Triple J. I don't know. There's something about Eric. Every time he comes on the screen, I want to just like turn it off. I'm like, oh god, like somebody just.
Oh, I mean, there's a lot of those guys.
Eric Watts is really up there for me. Like Eric Watts has go away heat for me.
Absolutely. I mean, like David Flair when he was there for.
Dude, David Flair. Oh my god, dude.
No, but I mean, Don Harris and David Young are without question 2 people that when I see them coming out, it's like, God help me. God.
Well, it sucks because it's like when there's a David Young match on, we both kind of just.
Yeah, dude, it just ruins. You could let's say the show started off with like let's say next week, the show starts off with Ultimate X, right? And we would be like, holy shit, dude, that match was fucking great. And then they'll be like, okay, cool. The next match is going to be David Young against fucking, I don't even know, Shark Boy. And I'd be like, oh, fuck, dude.
The show's ruined.
It's over.
It's done. That's
It
it.
sucks.
Right there.
Thumbs down show. And it has nothing to do with Shark Boy. It has everything to do with David Young.
Yeah, I want to say it's not his fault, but it's kind of his fault.
It kind of is.
He just has no guy. He just doesn't have any charisma.
He does one good move. A spine buster. That's it.
Yeah.
What else does he do? Nothing.
But they are starting to use him more in like I want to say like kind of a comedy role with Gilberti. Like he keeps like saying dumb shit and stuff.
I think that makes it even more annoying.
Well, yeah, but I think that that'll help.
Because like if he makes me laugh, it makes me hate myself more.
Oh.
And then you got to also incorporate, I think, Glenn Gilberti.
Yeah,
into this most hated wrestler.
That's true, and they're a tag team,
Glenn.
so.
And Mike Sanders.
Oh, fuck Mike Sanders too.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, just
and a lot of
you know what?
And a lot of like Glenn Gilberti's issue was like the pants he was wearing.
Right, absolutely.
Like, screw that, dude.
I think we could probably under most hated just put SCX and just. I mean, most of the guys we just said are in it. But well, that wasn't also not a very hard category. But this one might be a little bit tougher, I think. And that is the match of the year. Because, Bob, I wrote 6 matches.
You have 6 matches.
I wrote 6 matches. And I don't know which one's actually my favorite.
I think I know my favorite one. I'm surprised you have 6. I don't know if I could name 6 that I really like.
They kept popping in my head.
All right, so name your 6, and I'm sure my one is part of your 6.
I'd be surprised if it isn't, but okay.
I'm sure it is.
These are in no particular order. First up, one of the first that came into my mind was Raven versus AJ Styles in the number 1 contender ladder match on pay-per-view 37, March 19th.
Really?
I thought it was a really fun ladder match.
Isn't that the one where they both grabbed it down and there was no finish?
I guess.
Yeah, I fucking hate that. Like, what the fuck?
I don't know, maybe.
And they did that like 4 weeks in a row, like double pins and like.
They did do that shit. They did do that shit. Or wait, actually, no. Or was this? No, this was the ladder match where Raven actually got it, and then this is what led to his match with Jared. I think. You're thinking of D'Lo and Styles both grabbing the belt and falling. I'm pretty sure.
I could have sworn that they both came down with the contract.
No, because I think there's a photo that we posted of Raven holding it in his hand, laying down, and there's a puddle of blood in the ring.
Oh, okay, maybe you're right.
So I thought that one was really fun. I also, now hear me out on this one because I feel like I know what you're going to say about it, but hear me out. I put Raven and Jared on here from pay-per-view 43, April 30th, strictly because the build-up and the crowd during the match, I think really made this match like, I don't want to use the word spectacle, but I feel like it was it was really like it made it like a lot of fun. Obviously we didn't get what we wanted out of it, but I think it was one of Jared's better matches we've seen.
I can agree with that. I mean, the outcome, the results was
right.
Not great.
Right.
But yeah, I mean that I think without a doubt that Raven and Jared, honestly, aside from another match, which I'm sure you're going to mention, is probably the most memorable match of the year.
That's what I mean.
So
I can't get it out of my head. When I think of TNA 2003, that's what I'm going to think of.
I think if you ask any TNA fan, hey, what 2003 TNA, what do you think about? What's first thing comes to your mind? I wouldn't be surprised if people were like Raven and Jared.
Right. That's what I mean.
Yeah, and I think I think we can agree that they fumbled it on that night.
Right.
Their momentum noticeably went down.
Yes,
So I think that match had so much to it, like what you're mentioning. Like I think putting it in the category of match of the year because of how much it meant at the time.
Right.
I don't think is a foolish thing to say.
Right. Next up on my list, I have The Ultimate Axe from August 20th, pay-per-view number 59. I think first ever Ultimate Axe. I think it was a very fun match. Memorable. I don't know. I liked it. So I put it on my list.
Yeah, it's good.
After that one, this one I might be looking at with rose-colored glasses on. I feel like this I would truly have to rewatch to be like, okay, that deserves to be in my category. But on June 11th, pay-per-view number 49, we had a three-way match between Jeff Jarrett, AJ Styles, and Raven. And I feel like I remember enjoying that.
Yeah, but is it match of the year?
That one's probably the bottom of my list of 6, realistically.
Okay.
So, like, I was like, that was
How
a lot
many
of fun.
matches have you said now? 4?
That's my 4th. Okay. Next up, I have a feeling one of them is what you're going to say, so I'm saving that for last. So, my next one is the Super X Cup Finals from September 3rd, pay-per-view number 61. Chris Sabin versus The Juice, Juventud Guerrera.
That's a really good one.
That was a really good match.
That's a really good match.
As far as, like, I feel like enjoying a match strictly for, like, what's happening in the match.
Yeah.
That one's got to be up there. But finally, I'd be really surprised if this isn't what yours is. So this is going to be interesting. On June 25th, pay-per-view 51, America's Most Wanted, Triple X, the cage match.
Yeah, that's what I'm. Yeah, that's what I was.
Yeah, realistically, when I was building this list, that cage match and Jarrett versus Raven are the first two things that popped in my head, and I think both were very, very good. The cage match, as far as like what it was compared to the match itself of Raven and Jarrett, I think might just top it. But that's my list, man. This one. There's a lot going on here for me.
Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna say the cage match is my number one. I think Sabin and Hoovy that you mentioned is like if there was like let's say I had to narrow it down to 3. I'd go the cage. How am I gonna order it? I'm gonna go with like level of it. I think importance or like impact. So I'm gonna say the cage match because that was at a time where they needed to get their momentum back, and I think that helped. That whole show really, I think, helped.
Right.
Raven, Jarrett, and then Sabin, and Hoovy. Ultimate X was good, but I think it's a trial and error. Like I don't think they've figured it out totally yet.
And that's a good point. And like I said, I think that one kind of falls in here for me because of like what it is. That's another
nostalgia of it being like the first one.
The first thing, what it's going to mean for the company, and I don't know, something so innovative that worked. I think it's really good. But I agree completely. But I think those 3 absolutely were 3 of the best things throughout the year. And what's interesting about that is that's pretty spread out through the year. I mean, yeah, it's early, mid, and then fairly late. So it's pretty interesting how they kind of laid itself out there. Well, next up, we only got 2 more categories left before we can chat about some other things here, but is Tag Team of the Year. We had a lot of tag teams coming in and out.
Yeah, Rock and Roll Express.
Rock and Roll Express.
And
That's right.
Naturals made an appearance.
The Naturals did, yeah.
Well, I feel like there may be an obvious pick here, but I think I'm going to go kind of outside the box, or maybe not expecting it. But go ahead. Who's your tag team?
Oh, you want me to go? Okay. Okay, so I wrote 2, and so my personal is Diamond and Swinger.
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
I just think as far as them coming in, they ended up beating America's Most Wanted. They got the titles. They had a pretty good run with it, and I became very big Simon Diamond and Johnny Swinger fan. So to me, just like kind of alone, like I don't know. I really think that I don't know. I think it was really good. I really enjoyed it, and so to me, that's like my tag team of the year. If I look at, and you're gonna roll your eyes at this, you know, because I kind of am rolling my eyes at it, but I really think you kind of have to throw Three Life Crew in the conversation.
No way.
And
No
listen. And why I say this
Mhm. I
is
wanna hang up so
because
bad.
I know you. I know. I'm sorry, but they really got the fans in the asylum to like love them.
Right, that's fine. They suck, Dallas.
Well,
Aside, Ron Killings does not suck, but BG James and Conan are not good.
like I said, I just think they have to be in the conversation.
No fucking way.
I think, as does America's Most Wanted. I think they have to be in the conversation as well.
Sure. Same thing with Triple X. They could be thrown
Triple
in.
X.
If I had no, I think Simon Diamond and Johnny Swinger are the tag team of the year, and it's so crazy to say that because I don't think I would have expected to utter those words. Not because they suck or anything, but I would have thought America's Most Wanted would have been tag team of the year for the first 4 years of this podcast.
Right.
But I think kind of what has happened with AMW already is they've done everything they can do. They've won the tag team titles numerous times. They've won a cage match, the first cage match in TNA history. They've had good matches. They've had bad matches as well, though, and it depends really on the opponents. I think Diamond and Swinger, to an extent, kind of carried their feud with like promos and just their overall presentation. I don't think there's many wrestlers or tag teams that can lose several title matches in a row and still carry a feud to a point where you still care about it, and then they win the tag team titles.
Right.
Which is something they accomplished to do. And I think heading into 2004, Diamond and Swinger, both as a duo act. I mean, they just beat AJ and D'Lo Brown. Like, I was not expecting that. I thought it was for sure AJ or D'Lo would win, and then they won. So I think their momentum for TNA and value, I think, is at a fucking all-time high. Like, you're going in 2004. I'm thinking Diamond and Swing are the top heel team still. And
I think so. I don't know how it couldn't be.
Just a matter of time before they probably regain the titles from Three Life Group.
Yeah, I agree.
Although I think they will turn face because they're annoyed with Gilberti. I think they do turn face.
I think they will too. Why not? Right? That seems to be the direction that we're heading in.
That's what I would think.
Well,
if Triple X was around more consistently, they might have been the top tag team. Daniels and Skipper.
Right.
But they're always in Japan or something, so it doesn't work out.
Yeah, you have that right. Well, last up, Bob, we have the Wrestler of the Year.
I think this is an easy one, too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Who do you think it is?
I think it's Raven.
I didn't put Raven on my list. But I agree with you.
Okay, well, then who's on your list? AJ Styles, because he does flips.
Well, that's not why, but yeah.
Yeah, of course.
And who else, guess?
Jeff Jarrett.
Jeff Jarrett.
No, dude.
I'm looking at it. Listen, I'm looking at it as maybe I'm looking at it too like kayfabe wise, right?
Yeah, I think you are.
I think I am.
I think you are.
I think
Especially
that's
for
my.
Jeff Jarrett. Because, like, what?
Well, I think I am because I do agree with Raven. But also, if I put Raven on every answer here,
Hey, you know what? There are people who have great years. And I think the 2003 for Raven, I think for him is an all-time year
I do too.
of his career.
Absolutely.
So I don't think it's ludicrous to be like, he's the comeback guy or he's the wrestler of the year. I think he's deserved it. He's been part of, like, most of the memorable things of the main event.
No, I agree.
And even his non-main event feud, let's say with Shane Douglas, for instance, is like the main event. Is the top angle that is carrying the show. So I think he's well deserving of it.
Yep, I agree. Well, that is all of me and Bob's opinions. I'm going to run through here the newsletter awards. Not everyone, because if they don't include a TNA wrestler, I'm not mentioning it. And I'm going to go fairly quick here because I don't think we need to spend a lot of time on this. But then I want to talk about a couple other fun little things about just our podcast in general and what else happened in 2003. Like I said, about all the people who debuted. Yeah, we'll get there. So this actually was published on January 19th, 2004, which is quite late for a year-end awards for 2003. I know it takes a lot of time to get shit together, but I'm just saying. So the first category that features a TNA wrestler is the Most Outstanding Wrestler Award, and it features AJ Styles in the 8th spot out of 10. It also features Paul London as an honorable mention who did work in TNA in 2003. So I'm mentioning that as well.
So AJ's really the only TNA guy.
I guess. He's the only one in the list. Honorable mention. That's what you mean? Okay, yes.
Yeah.
Then yes, in the Most Outstanding Wrestler, AJ Styles. And for reference, if you want to know, Kurt Angle is number 1.
Well, of course. I mean, he's fucking amazing.
Right.
How many Japanese guys are in that?
1, 2, 3. All above AJ Styles.
Right. And the rest are WWE guys?
Yes.
So, like, what, Benoit, Eddie?
Yeah. So we got Angle, Kenta Kobayashi, Chris Benoit, Eddie Guerrero, Yuji Nagata, Chris Jericho, Kenta, AJ Styles, Brock Lesnar, Shawn Michaels.
Okay. I think that's fine. Yeah, that makes sense.
Bryan Danielson is in the honorable mentions if you want to know. Next up is the Feud of the Year category. And this first one I'm going to say did not take place in TNA. However, it features 2 TNA wrestlers. And that is in the 2nd place spot with Raven versus CM Punk.
Wow, that surprises me that a Ring of Honor centric feud is 2nd.
Right. And the only thing beating that was Brock Lesnar and Kurt Angle.
You're joking.
I wish I was.
Raven and Punk is better than Lesnar and Angle. I'm sorry. From a story perspective.
Well, you got to think too. A lot of people who are helping vote on these and stuff like that.
Are these for fans?
Well, these are there's votes. Like, people vote for this.
Oh, I thought this was Dave, like, making a list of what he thought was. So it's fans. It's a fan vote.
Well, let me see. He has like a thing. It just says this is the results of the 24th annual Wrestling Observer Newsletter Readership Awards, along with the.
Okay,
so
that would make sense then why Angle and Lesnar's up there.
That's what I mean.
It's more eyes, but the fact that Punk and Raven's second.
That's and then in the 8th place spot is Jeff Jarrett versus Raven.
Okay.
So it's also pretty interesting just because Raven has 2 spots in the top 10 feuds.
That's why I'm saying that having him in our awards in so many spots and being wrestler of the year is not, I think, a crazy thing because he's done. Now it's confirming he's expanded over numerous companies.
Right. exactly.
That's how crazy of a year he had.
The America's Most Wanted and Triple X feud is in the honorable mention section as well. Next up is the Tag Team of the Year, and Chris Harris and James Storm did come in at the 5th place spot for that. So, not too bad.
Is Swinger and Diamond on it?
Swinger and Diamond is not on it, man.
I didn't think they were.
Oh, and look at that. Actually, I missed that. Looking again now, I see Triple X is in the 7th spot. So 2 TNA teams are, in fact, in the top 10. Lots of Japanese teams in this one.
I feel like a lot of people wouldn't agree with us on Swinger and Diamond.
I don't either, but I really think if you watch it all the way through, you can't just... That's the thing that about our podcast that we've said many times, Bob, that we're coming to appreciate stuff more in context. You can't just watch, I'm going to watch pay-per-view 72. It's like you aren't going to know what's happening. It's a weekly show.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it really helps.
It's the level of continuation that you need to know about.
Right. In the most improved category, 3 TNA wrestlers are listed in spots 8 through 10. So the number 8 spot is AJ Styles. Then number 9, Bob's pick, Elix Skipper.
Hey. Okay.
And then number 10 is Chris Harris. So that's kind of cool. And also in the honorable mention area, CM Punk and Paul London are also listed there.
See, I don't think Punk...
Oh, and so is James Storm. I missed him.
Okay, so CM Punk is a guy that really frustrates me because I've honestly always thought he just looks sloppy as fuck.
Maybe that's what he's going for.
I don't know. Maybe it's the basketball shorts. I don't know.
No, it could be.
But I don't know. He's not like a ring general or anything, so I don't know. I still tend to enjoy him.
Oh, yeah.
I wish he was like more of a brawler.
No, I get it. Next up is the best on interviews, which CM Punk is featured in the 5th spot, and Raven is in the 8th.
Who was it?
CM Punk is in the 5th spot of best on interviews, and then Raven is 8th. And
Isn't
then James.
It crazy how TNA virtually does not let Punk talk at all.
Right, he doesn't really at all. And then James Mitchell is in the honorable mention section for that one as well.
Wait a minute. James Mitchell's in the honorable mention?
Mm-hmm. Oh. Yeah, I think it's just because of who we have on this list. I mean, going down from the top, Jericho, Cena, Rock, Quentin Jackson. I don't know who that is, though.
Quentin Jackson's a UFC fan.
Okay. Ric Flair, Kurt Angle, or I skipped Punk, but Punk, Ric Flair, Kurt Angle, Raven, Steve Austin, Vince McMahon.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Okay.
So, I get it. Skipping down a bit, the Bruiser Brody Memorial Award, which is the Best Brawler Award. Raven came in the number 2 spot. The person who beat him, and really not by a lot, was Brock Lesnar.
As a brawler?
I guess. I had the same reaction.
What?
Yeah. And then in the honorable mention section here was your buddy Steve Corino.
Oh, okay.
He did wrestle in TNA, so counts.
He did. He lost the match to the Harris brothers in like 32 seconds or whatever.
Right.
This Sandman couldn't make a fucking entrance.
Ugh. The Best Flying Wrestler, which is a weird title. TNA.
Like a high flyer.
Right. TNA has 5 spots, or at least 5 people who wrestled within the company at the time. Number 2 was AJ Styles. Number 3, Teddy Hart. Number 6 is Juventud Guerrera. 7 is Amazing Red. And 8 is Paul London. And then in the honorable mentions is Sanjay Dutt.
I mean, that doesn't really surprise. I'm surprised about Teddy Hart because he doesn't really make a splash in wrestling until like the next year, I think.
Very interesting.
So, I don't know what he was doing to even get noticed. Because we saw him on one show.
Yeah, just this. Well, on the Super X Cup, and then I think did we see him once else besides that, or did he not end up coming? I can't remember.
I don't think he ended up coming. So we've seen him maybe one time. He doesn't. I mean, when he goes to Jersey All Pro, I think starting in 2004. I mean, I would be more surprised by that. I think he's only really doing like Stampede stuff. So
Right. The most overrated category features Jeff Jarrett in the number 2 spot.
Who beat him?
Triple H.
2003, overrated. Okay.
And then just for fun, it sort of counts, sort of doesn't, but Hulk Hogan is in the honorable mention section. The most underrated category, Christopher Daniels comes in at number 4. Paul London is in at number 9. And then honorable mention was Raven is in that category. So that's kind of fun.
I can agree with those. I think Daniels in a singles role has been a bit disappointing.
I think that's fair. I think they could have done a lot more with that.
But I even think like his matches are just kind of blah.
Well, yeah, one of my favorite people on this list, just for fun, when I was reading on it, is Rico. Is number 6 on the list, and I was like, oh, okay.
Dude, Rico's not bad.
I like Rico, so I thought it was funny.
It was a match. It was a match in 2002. He fought Rey Mysterio, and I was like, "Holy shit, this was great!" I couldn't believe it. I was like, "What the hell is Rico doing?" It was really good.
Right.
So no, that does not surprise me. And I remember him having a lot of buzz in OVW.
There you go.
So that does not surprise me that people considered him underrated. Was he actually on the list or honorable mention?
Oh no, he's on the list.
Really?
Yeah, he's in the number 6 spot.
Holy smokes! Okay.
All right. Next up is the promotion of the year. Bob, where do you think TNA ranked in the promotion of the year category?
I would be shocked if is there 10 promotions?
There is 10 total. Yes.
Holy, I don't even know if I can name 10 promotions that would qualify for this. I would be shocked if they were in the top 10.
Well, they are. They're number 7.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
New Japan's probably number 1, right?
Nope. New Japan is in the honorable mention section.
Wow. All right. Number 1 is All Japan.
Nope. No, All Japan's not on the list.
Okay. No.
You're not gonna guess the first one.
Wait, hang on a minute. It is a wrestling company, correct? Or is it like is it UFC?
It's like it's Pride Fighting.
Pride Fighting. Okay.
Pride Fighting Championships.
That doesn't even fucking count.
No, it doesn't. But the highest ranked Japanese promotion is Pro Wrestling Noah in number 2.
Right.
Ring of Honor is 3rd.
He does like Ring of Honor.
Then WWE. Then CMLL. Then OVW. Then TNA.
What? Okay. What? OVW?
I guess.
Is ranked 6th.
I guess so, man.
OVW, dude. What are we talking about here? What? OVW.
Yeah.
This isn't real. Are you fucking trolling me?
No, dude, I'm not.
OVW.
I wish I was. Ohio Valley Wrestling.
Get out of here. The developmental system of WWE in 2003 is better than fucking New Japan Pro Wrestling and like, what the fuck? No way.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Wow. There must be a lot of people that live in Louisville, Kentucky that are voting for this in the Wrestling Observer newsletter. Jim Cornette was probably like, every single wrestler in this fucking company needs to vote, get a subscription to the Observer and vote for our little company here. That's hysterical to me.
Yeah, good shit. Next up is the best weekly television show. And I'll give this one to you. You don't have to keep guessing.
Monday night. No, SmackDown.
No. No.
Explosion.
No.
OVW.
No. Although OVW is number 2.
Oh my fucking god. No. What is going on?
I don't know, dude.
Who's number one?
Number one is Pro Wrestling Noah. But
I realized that was a weekly TV program, but okay.
oh yeah, really. TNA came in the number 6 category. Or ranking, I should say. So yeah, that's fun. Skipping ahead here. The worked match of the year, unfortunately, TNA did not get in the top 10. However, we did have some
best
worked match of the year versus like shoot fighting stuff. That's like what. So it's like wrestling.
Right.
This Juventud Guerrera and Chris Sabin was in the honorable mentions, as well as that. I believe it's the cage match: Chris Harris and James Storm versus Daniels and Skipper. I'm almost positive it's the cage match. Yes, it is.
It has.
I was just checking my dates on my other thing. After that, we have the Rookie of the Year category, and we did get 2 spots for this. One of them half counts, really, but the number 1 spot is Chris Sabin by a landslide.
Really?
Oh, yeah, a lot. And in second place, I threw it in here because he did show up, was Zach Gowen or Tenacious Z, even though, of course, he had a bigger year in WWE. But
I was going to say they're definitely voting on the WWE part of that.
Right. Best non-wrestler, we got the number 3rd spot with James Mitchell, which is pretty big.
Okay.
And Don Callis got an honorable mention.
I'm surprised that Mitchell would get that, but then not like make the top 10 of the talker part. But the talkers that you mentioned are really good. So.
Right. The best television announcer, we won by a pretty decent amount as well. Number 1, Mike Tanay.
That's good for him.
We got a winner over there. The worst television announcer, unfortunately, I do not agree with this. And no, we didn't win it, luckily, but they did have Don West in the 7th spot.
I think at the time, if I was watching it, I would agree with that. But watching it now, I don't think so. I think when he first started, was he bad? Yes. But he found his niche of being an enthusiastic fan.
Yeah, I agree.
Feel like you're watching it with him.
Right.
And I think that makes him very endearing. And I don't think that he's as bad as maybe I thought growing up.
Right. The best major wrestling show. So this is talking more of a specific event. Like
a pay-per-view or something, right?
Like WrestleMania. I'm trying to look at ROH's 2nd anniversary. So big shows that, right? We came in at the 6th spot with the Super X Cup on August 27th. So apparently that got people paying attention. No other honorable mention shows in that one. And now I'm bringing this one in for fun. The worst major wrestling show. Any guesses, Bob?
I feel like a WWA show is going to be on this.
Oh, it might be. In number 9, The Reckoning.
Yeah, we just watched that.
Yeah.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah, I thought that was funny. The best wrestling maneuver category, we got a bunch in this one. AJ Styles won with the Styles Clash in the number 1 spot.
Okay. In
the number 6 spot, Paul London with his Shooting Star Press. In the number 8 spot, Elix Skipper with the Rope Walk Hurricane Rana. Number 9 was AJ Styles and Amazing Red, Hurricane Rana into the Styles Clash.
I think that's a Ring of Honor thing. Because
that makes sense.
There. And let me tell you, that shit's nuts. I think they did that to the Briscoe brothers or something, and I was like, holy shit. Yeah,
that's nice. Then in the honorable mention section, Jarrell Clark with his 630, Sanjay Dutt's Hindu Press, and Juventud Guerrera's 450.
You want to know what I'm surprised is not on there? And I know we didn't see him a lot, but Jason Cross's Crossfire.
Oh, that's a good point. Because that is a good move. When he hits
maybe everything else he does is not great, but the Crossfire is at least good.
Yeah. The next up category is the most disgusting promotional tactic.
God, are they going to be on there 5 times, 6 times, or what?
No, actually not. I'm actually we're only on it once, but I'm bringing up a couple more because they involve people we saw. So in the number 4 spot, I don't necessarily agree with this being on this category, but it's here, so I'm going to say it, is WWE not acknowledging Mike Lockwood's death is apparently a disgusting promotional tactic. I don't agree with that.
Wait. They didn't acknowledge it.
Didn't. So
Right,
how
so is that a disgusting promotional tactic? Because
I don't know.
Disgusting would be like over,
Right.
kind of like what, I don't know if it's like what they did with Eddie Guerrero. Like they were really seemingly trying to capitalize on it.
Right. In the number 7 spot was TNA using Lex Luger.
Okay.
Because of the controversy.
Sure.
I could somewhat understand that. And then in the number 8 spot, once again, doesn't really affect us much, but WWE exploiting Zach Gowen.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, I think I agree with the Luger and Gowen ones.
Yeah. This next category is the reader's favorite wrestler. And we have 2 guys in this category. And that is, hold on. At number 6, it's Paul London.
Oh.
And number 10 is AJ Styles.
Oh.
Well, why not? Next up is the worst wrestler. Who from TNA? No. Okay, there's your guess. No, in number 6, it's Lex Luger.
He had one match.
Oh, yeah. The worst tag team.
3 Live Crew, baby.
Yeah, number 10, 3 Live Crew.
And you're trying to sit there and tell me tag team of the year. Okay, buddy.
I said no. I said they had to be in the conversation. And in the number 9 spot, Kevin Northcutt and Ryan Wilson, the red shirt security. Yeah. Next up is the worst television show, and TNA came in number 5.
Wait a minute. So they were the best one at 6, and the worst one at 5.
Yeah, well.
So it's the worst. So it's not good, is what we're getting at.
Yeah, but Raw is number 1, so we got that.
Oh, no shit, dude. Raw was pretty bad.
Next up, the worst non-wrestling personality. We had a couple here as well. Number 4 is Vince Russo. Number 6 is Roddy Piper. And number 8 is Eric Watts.
I agree with Piper and Watts being on there. Russo, I enjoy Russo, so I can't say that he's bad.
Well, I think that's
fucking Eric Watts, dude, it should be like number 1 by a landslide.
Right.
And Piper's a close second.
Right. We are in the worst match of the year category. We got one. Number 10, Kid Cash vs. Trinity on March 28th.
Okay.
And after I read this, I was like, they did our girl Trinity pretty bad.
They did. It was not good.
They really did. Next up, worst on interviews. We got a couple in this category as well. And the number 3 spot is Roddy Piper.
Right.
Which, if you watch his video packages, you'll understand.
Yeah, you know.
Number 9 is Jeff Jarrett. If you watch him talk in the ring for 20 minutes, you'll understand. And number 10, Eric Watts.
Shocking.
If you heard him talk at all, you'd understand. Next up is the worst promotion category. And we did get into this as well somehow in the number 7 spot.
Nice.
But we're better than New Japan, IWA Mid-South, and IWA.
I would hope that TNA is better than IWA Mid-South. Are you fucking kidding me?
I am just saying.
Good lord.
Next up is the Promoter of the Year category, and Jeff Jarrett came in at number 10. Just super exciting. In the Best Gimmick category, CM Punk, he's not doing the gimmick in TNA, but he's here. So CM Punk's straight edge gimmick. I know he's not doing it a ton in TNA, but nonetheless, he's on the list. The Worst Gimmick category features the Red Shirt Security at number 10. So that's fun.
Well, I mean, it's like a right to censor knockoff kind of feeling at this point.
Yeah, it's just like dumb shit. The Most Embarrassing Wrestler category. This one, I think this is a ridiculous category.
Jonah.
No. Number 2 is Zach Gowen. Number 3 is Teddy Hart. Number 4 is Roddy Piper. And
Wait, it's worst wrestler?
Most embarrassing wrestler.
Oh, most embarrassing wrestler. Teddy. Oh, okay, well, Teddy Hart.
Okay. Yeah, Piper's 4, and then in number 10 spot, I just had to bring it up for fun again. Hulk Hogan. And that ends the Observer Newsletter Awards. So, if you stuck around for the fun, let's talk about some fun stuff quick, Bob.
Okay.
How many... I can't wait anymore. I was going to save it still, but how many people do you think made their debut in NWA-TNA in 2003?
Well, obviously, it's a shit ton. I'm going to say 46.
Not a bad guess, Bob. So I'm going to say, before I give the number, before I say anything else, I may have missed someone. In fact, I caught someone I missed while we were just recording right now, and I wrote it down.
Okay.
So there's a chance I still missed people. There's also some people that technically either showed up before, never showed up, but they were advertised to be. So I took them off. That they're not in my final number. There's people like Sarah Lee, for example, technically shown up before. So she doesn't, I would say it's not really her debut, but she wasn't introduced as Sarah Lee. She's not on my list. I took that out of my number. But, well, I'll say that name after. But then you have people like Abyss, who I count as 2003 as their debut, but technically he was wrestling in 2003, but under a different name.
I would say that, yeah.
So we have stuff like that. So there's a lot of things that kind of have gone into that. My total number that I counted after I tried to go through every single show on WrestlingRecaps.com and a K-Twitch is a total of 65.
Son of a bitch, I was going to say like 62. Fuck.
Yeah, so Bob, here's the thing. Are you ready?
That's incredible, dude. 62.
Are you ready?
That's on average one person a week.
Right.
If not a little more.
Yeah. Okay, you ready for this?
You're going to say every single one?
I'm going to tell you everyone.
Go ahead.
Mike Sanders, Larry Zbyszko, The Rock and Roll Express, which is 2, Nikita Koloff, Raven, Tenacious Z, J.J. Dillon, Sandman, Vader, Paul London, Disgraceland, Jonah, Juventud Guerrera, Julio De Niro, Super Crazy, D'Lo Brown, Moondog Spot, Perry Saturn, Nelson Knight, Mexico's Most Wanted, which is Damien 666 and Halloween, New Jack, Mike Barton, Chris Sabin, Mike Awesome, Just Incredible, Tracy Brooks, Damian Dothar, Frankie Kazarian, Sting, Abyss, Kenzo Suzuki, Shane Douglas, Legend, Ultra Boy Luke, Delirious, Edward Chastain, Don Callis, Scott Hudson, Mad Mikey, Matt Sydal, Corsica Joe. It counts. Michael Shane, Danny Doring, Roadkill, Laz, Nasawa, Johnny Storm, Ted Hart, Sin, Eric Young, Vampiro, Kevin Northcutt, Ryan Wilson, Terry Taylor, ECMO, El Fuego, Jarrell Clark, Sanjay Dutt, Jimmy Hart, Axe, Chad Collier, Lex Luger, and Andy Douglas.
I think you forgot Nelson Knight, didn't you?
I said that.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I said Nelson Knight.
That's incredible.
Did you forget that Mike Barton was here? Because I did.
No, I did not. No, I knew.
I forgot.
He fought Saturn, didn't he?
Saturn, yeah. And Kenzo Suzuki was at the anniversary show. So there's some fun stuff. Quite the list of names. Really.
Dude.
And like I said, I'm sure I missed someone, but I would say this has got to be 99% accurate. The one I missed, by the way, if you couldn't tell by him being last, was Andy Douglas.
Oh, yeah. Right.
But Chase Stevens did appear before, so I can't even say the Naturals.
Right,
be cool.
Can't say the Naturals, yeah.
He's still under the same name and gimmick and stuff. Now, also, Bob really likes tournaments. So, Bob, how many different kinds of tournaments do you think that we had in 2003?
Oh, fuck. Okay, so we had the Hard 10, the Anarchy Alliance. Are we talking even title tournaments?
Mm-hmm.
Shit. I'm going to say we had 6.
That's pretty close. I got 5, at least that I found as I was kind of going back. There was an NWA Tag Team Title tournament. There was some kind of like Asylum tournament. I couldn't dive deeper on what it was. But then we had the Anarchy Alliance tournament, the Hard 10 tournament, and then the Super X Cup is also a tournament. So also we had quite a bit of match stipulations. Now
God.
this might sound absurd, but let me tell you some of the match stipulations we have, Bob. We had an axe handle on a pole match, a guitar and baseball bat on a pole match, a chair on a pole first blood match, a 10-minute time limit managerial services match, 2 special referee matches, a sadistic madness match, false count anywhere match, many gauntlets really, but specifically gauntlet matches, 2 no disqualification matches. We had some Clockwork Orange House of Fun matches. Bob, how many of those do you think we had?
4.
6.
Holy shit!
We had technically 2 ladder matches, but one took place in a best of 3 series with a singles and submissions match as well. We had the Anarchy in the Asylum. We had how many cage matches, Bob?
1, 2, 3, 4. At least 4. I'm going to say 5.
Technically 5 with the Wednesday Bloody Wednesday cage match. We had a lights out match, a chain match, 2 last man standing matches. There was 2 best of 3 series matches, one of which included that ladder and submission match. The other was just 3 matches. There was the Rawhide Strap match. There's a hair versus hair match, a Monkhouse Brawl, a 6-man dog collar match, a regular dog collar match. We had the Michael Shane Triple Chance Invitational Battle Royal, which we could actually probably consider as a tournament if you want to think about it like that, because you had to kind of work your way through it. There is the Dream Blood Gallows of Retribution match, Fans Revenge Lumberjack Strap match, a Nashville Street Fight, a double bull rope, and holy shit, is that a lot of stipulations that we saw this year about?
That's incredible. All in a year.
In a year.
All of those stipulations. Oh my god.
And as every week we talk about, is it thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle? Overall, Bob, the 2003 has been really up and down. Do you think that the majority of the shows that we liked were a thumbs up, were they thumbs down, or were they thumbs in the middle?
Well, I feel like you would have the record keepings that would show how.
I do. I have the numbers. That's why I'm asking.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I counted.
Okay. I'm going to say that I probably was more average to negative, even with like the 10 or so in a row that we liked.
I have them together. So overall show. So that's not just you.
Overall, because you're usually pretty positive. I'm going to say it was probably positive.
Yeah, so we gave 24 shows a thumbs up. 19 shows were in the middle, and only 6 got a thumbs down. So it was a pretty positive year overall. And honestly, I mean, I think I got it pulled up right here too even. There was only a few times we disagreed. We disagreed on pay-per-view 37. I gave up. You went in the middle. And pay-per-view 41, I was in the middle. You went straight down on me. Pay-per-view 48, I was in the middle. You went down. 67, I gave it up. You were in the middle. And then on pay-per-view 74, I went up and you were in the middle. Besides that, we agreed on nearly every show. Now, of course, sometimes we're tilting up or tilting down when we're in the middle, but that average is in the middle anyways. So we agreed nearly every time, which is pretty impressive. And there was only a couple that we were like, no, God, that was trash. It was really bad. We're kind of running down here toward the end of what we've done. I mean, is that when I look back, I think of we didn't really talk about the anniversary show at all, but it wasn't that great of a show. But Sting made his debut. That was like a big moment that happened. I mean, is there anything else that sticks out in your head before we start to wrap this up here, Bob?
I don't know, man. I feel like 2003 is TNA in 2003. It feels like it's a different company every quarter.
It really does. Yeah, man. I agree with that.
And I was thinking about it because the first quarter is really heavy on the Sex Raven against Jarrett.
Mm-hmm.
Then your second quarter is really kind of like the rise of AJ and his eventual winning of the championship against Jarrett.
Right.
And then the third is AJ's run as champion, and then like Raven and Douglas or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then the final quarter is really Jarrett and his like dominance and kind of relying on Stings and Lex Lugers and guys of that nature.
Right.
So it's just kind of crazy that there's a consistency, but it's like a 3 months of consistent, and then just completely switches.
Right. Now the way you laid that out there, I actually kind of like it. Like it's like it creates more chaos as you're watching through, but you can see that progression throughout the year.
Yeah.
And I do think that this year that's one thing that they did decently is they learned like, oh, we should probably like build to something, at least most of the time, not all the time.
And you even noted in the Observer, they were like, maybe we should have 3 or 4 weeks where we build up, and that fourth or fifth show is the one where a lot of people will buy.
Right. And there's other times that they rush things, such as America's Most Wanted versus 3 Life Crew. I mean, that just happened, and I think that's a match they really could have built toward.
Right. No, I think you're right.
So, I don't know, man. 2003 has been a wild ride. You and I have recorded over 120 hours of 2003 podcasting, and that doesn't include the 2 bonus episodes that we did this year. So 2004 is going to be a lot of fun, and that number is only going to go up when we hit that impact zone.
Oh boy, can't wait.
But I'm really, really looking forward to 2004. I've mentioned it before, and I mentioned it in the beginning of 2003. I haven't seen a lot, and the stuff I thought was 2004 just happened in 2003. So 2004 is going to be a fucking wild ride for me.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I don't know what to expect, and I'm really, really looking forward to it. And I'm sure I've seen some things here and there, and I'm sure I'll notice those as it happens. But 2003 was a really fun year, and I think there was a lot of moments that are iconic in the history of TNA, of Impact Wrestling. So it was great to relive that all with you, Bob. It's been a lot of fun.
Well, it has been fun. I know I joke around and say like TNA sucks or whatever, but it's fun. It's a fun train wreck when it's bad, but then it's also like, hey, this is actually good wrestling when it's good. 2004 TNA, most of it is rather, I guess, fresh in my brain because it's been documented here that I had to burn through like 6 months worth of
a lot.
the weekly pay-per-views to make sure I wrote the reviews before we watched them, because if I watched them without writing them, I probably never would have written them. So that stuff is relatively fresh in my brain. However, I'm really looking forward to Dallas's reaction to some of the stuff, and I think it's important for me to note here that on the podcast, I am usually talking as if this is the first time I'm seeing it, like how I'd be reacting to it. So everybody knowing that I've recently watched these shows, I don't want you to think that I'm trying to insult your intelligence, that Bob knows what's going on or what is going to happen. I'm going to be presenting it as if I don't like what would I have done or what makes the most sense. You know what I mean? Like
Well, I agree, and I think there's some stuff I do it too to a degree. And my view on this is, why are we going to start the show if you already know what happens? My description of the podcast doesn't say, "Oh, Raven got scalped and the title switched." No.
right.
If you're listening, I either assume that you have not watched the show or you don't really remember it. So I'm not going to spoil it before it happens. I think that kind of ruins the fun. I don't think that's what we're about. And there's other podcasts out there that do give, I mean, they tell you what's on the show, which I totally understand.
Yeah.
But if there's a big shot, like, I'll just use it as an example. Like when Nikita Koloff unmasked, I don't want to spoil that. That's like part of the fun, especially if it's something like that where I am seeing it for the first time. You want my real reaction, you're going to get that.
Yeah.
And we hint around stuff that we've seen before. We knew Raven was losing his hair, but we're gonna call the match, and that's why we're calling the match as it's happening. Is he going to lose his hair? And then we'll talk about our ideas of like, well, should he be losing this match? Yeah. So I think we handle it very well, but I think it was well said, Bob. Definitely not trying to insult anyone's intelligence.
No, and I think it's just an easier listen. Because, like, if, for instance, that show that you're talking about, let's say, I do 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 play, and it's like, can't wait to see Raven get his head shaved.
Right.
What's the fucking point? Like, what is, like, okay, cool, we already know.
Right. I don't mind, like, hinting, like, oh, this might be a big one. Really been looking forward to this show.
Right. So, yeah. And then, again, like, I've listened to podcasts. It's just easier. And, like, with my written reviews, like, I write them up as if I don't know what's progressively going to be happening, because when you're reading it, why would I tell you, like, oh, hey, by the way, Jeff Jarrett wins next week? Right. No, it doesn't make any sense. So we don't do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
We try not to do that. Obviously, we've mentioned, Impact Zone and stuff like that, so we know that's happening, but not like angles and results. And stuff.
Yeah, we can't be completely dumb about it,
right.
But no, I think it all makes sense, and I hope that everyone has been enjoying the show along with us. And if you have, as I say every week, or if you're new and you haven't heard me say it, follow us on Twitter @CrossTheLineTNA. We post a lot of shit on Twitter, So if you love TNA wrestling, you're gonna love our page. And sometimes I even do live tweeting during current Impact Wrestling, Impact Plus events or pay-per-views. So we are very, very active on our Twitter page. You can also like us on Facebook @TNA Cross the Line Pod, or you can subscribe to our YouTube channel as well, where our podcasts are posted for easy access. You can just type in TNA Cross the Line Podcast. And please, whatever you do, leave us a review. Let us know how you heard about the TNA Cross the Line Podcast. Let us know what you like about it. If you're new, Bob doesn't really like negativity, so try to be nice. Put us down nice if there's something you don't like, but please let us know what you think about the show. And like I said, leave us a review. We'd be happy to read them on air even and talk about it, especially if you were like, yeah, Bob was really mean to Dallas that week, and we'll talk about that.
People love me.
Well, they do.
So. I've got Jordan wants to name his kid after me, so
that's a gimmick. He's gimmicking you.
I think that's for real. I hope he has a daughter and names her Roberta.
That would actually be really funny.
Exactly. All right. Well, I think that wraps up the 2003 saga of NWA-TNA. As Dallas has mentioned, we return next week, and I believe the main match is in fact Ultimate X 2.
That's the big draw, man. I don't know if we know anything else, and I don't know if I care. I'm ready for Ultimate X2, so it doesn't matter to me.
I think Ultimate X2 is enough of a draw to kind of lure you in. So we will continue next week, Ultimate X. I'm sure the power struggle between Don Callis and Eric Watts will continue. Who will challenge the NWA World Champion Jeff Jarrett as we enter 2004? Because quite frankly, he technically doesn't have any challengers. How long will that last? Who knows? Who will join Jeff Jarrett and Don Callis? Because as they've said, remember, if you're not with us, you're against us. And Kid Cash, by God, he was the first one to jump to be with him. So there's a lot of questions. We'll get the answers. And they will start next week with the January 7th, 2004 NWA-TNA weekly pay-per-view. We're looking forward to it, and we hope you are as well. Until then, for Dallas Gridley, I am Bob Colling Jr., and this has been the TNA Cross the Line podcast.